scaled that up really quickly, actually, more quickly than I ever thought we'd be able to. We did $1 million in 24 months with that business. What exactly is the biggest problem or biggest desire that your ideal client avatar or your ideal target audience has? We had over 20 people at this point, and I realized the biggest lesson from that was I actually don't want to be managing that many people.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of OpsTalk by Paired, where we talk everything operations, teams, and scaling. Today, my guest is Melissa Ng. She's a co-founder and CEO of Amprofy. She's helped over 2,000 entrepreneurs start and scale their online businesses. She's built 3 businesses to 6 and 7 figures in the last 4 years. And she also runs a remote team across 3 different countries. So I'm really excited to learn from her today. Melissa, welcome to our podcast.
Thanks for having me, Martin. Super excited for our conversation today.
Likewise. You know, I was looking at your LinkedIn a couple of days before we were jumping on this pod, and I saw like a very interesting, journey of how you got here. And I would love for you to share. How did you get to what you're doing today at Amprofy?
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting journey for sure. So I actually started off in a very traditional career path. My parents are immigrants, so they've always honed into me and my brother that, hey, we need to study really hard, go down the path of either being like a doctor, an accountant, or engineer. And I basically chose accounting. So I studied accounting, got my CPA designation, worked in finance for around 4 or 5 years before I realized, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can see myself continuing to do this for the rest of my life. And I started my entrepreneurship journey by jumping in to research what exactly I can do alongside my corporate finance job. E-commerce was one of the first things that came up. And after reading and doing a lot of research into how scalable it is, I decided to go pretty much all into e-commerce on my side hustle. We did pretty well. Hit 6 figures pretty quickly in our e-commerce stores. And I actually started posting that journey online on social media. And that's when I realized that there was a whole nother world out there. Social media, content creation, the online entrepreneur space. I had a lot of friends reach out to me asking how they can also start their own e-commerce store on Shopify. And so in the span of, I think, a month and a half, I had over 30 coffee chats. And one thing I noticed was that a lot of them were asking the same exact questions to me. And some of them even asked me like, hey, they were interested in starting. Do I have some sort of program or some sort of course that would teach people how to do that? And that's what actually sparked the second business idea of starting an e-commerce coaching business. And so we did that. Scaled that up really quickly, actually, more quickly than I ever thought we'd be able to. We did $1 million in 24 months with that business. And then from there, we use a lot of online workshops, challenges, virtual online events to do that and hit those numbers, building a lot of systems. And that's actually how I started my third business, which is Amprofy, where I help other B2B coaches, consultants, creator entrepreneurs, and scaling up their business with online virtual events, workshops, building systems, AI, and automation.
Wow, amazing. So you really went step by step of starting with e-commerce, mastering that domain first, helping others master that domain too, and then doing the same with B2B consulting after that.
Yeah, exactly. Like each business that I started, I never thought I would start, but I just started realizing the demand of it while I was in, because people
Yeah.
started asking about how they can also
Mm.
scale their coaching business because they saw that I was scaling mine. So it kind of came on conversations and I realized, oh, there's an opportunity there. So let me see what I can do in that space.
Very cool. Very cool. When was it that you started in the e-commerce space?
Oh, this was back in 2019, 2020. I think
Mhm.
2020.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So in those 5 years, I'm just really curious because I remember when e-commerce was like a really hot, business opportunity. And maybe these days an equivalent would be maybe like AI automations, AI agencies, etc. And I'm just curious, how have you seen, if at all, the e-commerce space change in those last 5 years?
Mm, that's a really good question. I mean, definitely in 2020, it was really hot. A lot of people were trying to get into e-commerce space. And I would say the demand for products during that time was also really, really high because everyone was pretty much at home. Well, first of all, it's gotten a lot easier to start an online store. I will say
Mm,
that.
right,
Um,
right. Interesting.
AI, because of product research tools, you can find a lot of data and information online that 5 years ago, like I wasn't able to. Like I just needed to test things out myself before I'm able to find these things. I would have to build the landing page, research all of my customer avatar and the product, figure out what the best copywriting positioning was, and that would take a lot of time. Nowadays, you can probably start up a store and do all of that in 5 hours.
Wow.
Before, it took me probably a week to do all of that before I can even launch a product. So I think in terms of actually launching, it's a lot quicker now than before.
Mm,
Um, it will say over the past few years, I do feel like e-commerce has gone harder to stand out from competition. So the best things right now that I've seen working in this space is, founder-led brands. If you're able to tell your story, if you have a personal brand, sharing your mission and exactly why you are doing this, that's gonna help you stand out and
mhm.
how you build a sustainable e-commerce business. Versus before, it was very product led, but it is quite competitive in the space now compared to before.
Right. It's got a lot easier to get started, but that also leads to the whole market just being a lot more saturated now. No, like I'd imagine it's harder to cost of advertising and such. You need to get a lot more creative, right?
Yeah, exactly. Cost of advertising has increased a lot, like going on Meta, Instagram, the price has increased quite a bit because so many people are advertising in this space.
Yeah.
But and as a result of it being easier to start now, more people are starting. So you have to find a way to stand out from the crowd.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm curious, what are the typical businesses that you work with at Amplify these days? Who would be like your typical client?
Yeah, I love that. So I work with a lot of coaches just because my background is in coaching as well. Work with a
Mhm.
lot of consultants and also creator entrepreneurs who already have an audience, but they're looking to monetize their audience with digital products or a coaching program
Yeah.
or a high ticket service. So I basically specialize in working more with service based companies selling a high ticket service. And when I
Gotcha.
say high ticket, generally anything over $2,000.
Yeah, awesome. I've been in the high ticket space for the last like 7 years as well, just more on the sales side. Yes. Yes. That's how I ended up at Paired and how I ended up hosting this podcast as well. Very cool.
Oh,
So yeah, absolutely. And interesting. That's another space that has, it's interesting though, because it has so much potential, right?
nice.
And at the same time, it is also so saturated, like ecom. I think it's another space that has really just it was really hot for a while, and then a lot of big names got established, and a lot
Mhm.
of different marketing strategies got established that people are using it. I think correct me if I'm wrong, but in at least the networks that I'm in, people tend to get a little bit burned out of certain coaching marketing strategies, right? Like, you follow someone on Instagram and within like 5 minutes, you get a DM,
Oh, yeah.
and they want you to like download a free ebook or they're like offering you to jump on a call. And I'm not saying it doesn't work. I just think that with how the market is evolving, people just need to, I mean, innovate is an understatement. Like people need to revolutionize how they go about acquiring clients.
Yeah, absolutely. Burnout happens so much in the coaching space, I will say. I've also burnt out numerous times in this space when I was trying to figure out what was the best system to acquire clients and what was the best marketing strategies to do. I think for myself, like I've done over at least 12 different marketing strategies and
Mm,
really figured what was for me and what wasn't. And I will say, things not for me is doing constant cold outreach, is
mm.
doing like just a lot of the cold email, like that leads to burnout. Like I think that road is just instant burnout at some point really quickly.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. Yeah, I think that's something that you can use AI automate, or maybe I'll actually ask her about this in a moment because you know way more about this than I do. But from what we've seen at Paired, where we get remote talent, is that rather than you, the founder, adding this to the things that you're juggling, right? Like you're doing all the marketing and all the sales and the operations and the accounting, and you're doing everything, right? And
Yeah.
on top of that, you're sending like 50 cold messages a day. Now just get someone in who's specialized in doing that. Get an expert in there who will just, eat cold messages for breakfast, right? And they don't mind, and they'll actually just go at it. But what I'm very curious about, Melissa, is because you're much deeper in this space, much more experience than I do. What do you see as some innovative strategies that coaches, consultants can use these days to actually go about acquiring new clients?
Yeah, for sure. So we specialize specifically in online workshops, as in virtual live events, challenges, webinars, and all of that. The reason why we specialize in that is because that's actually what I used to build my coaching business to $1 million in 24 months. Like we went in on doing online workshops. The reason why it works so well, like if you look at all the big names out there in the industry who are all big coaches like Tony Robbins, Russell Brunson, Aline Wilder, et cetera, they always do an online event that is live whenever they're looking to get new high ticket clients coming in as
Yeah,
well. The reason
absolutely.
why it works really well.
Mhm.
And part of that has to do with you being able to build a connection with your audience. There is something so powerful when your audience knows that you're talking to them, like directly to them, instead of
Mhm.
watching a YouTube video or instead of content.
Mhm.
It's that interaction and being able to build that trust really quickly with someone is how you shorten that sales cycle and have someone buy in 1 week instead of 6 months down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. I've been to a few different like online events like this. I agree that can be super valuable. But how do you make sure that you actually? And you don't need to give away all the magic sauce here, but how do you make sure that people actually sign up and stay engaged and they don't just treat it as another, oh, here's another live stream that I can attend, if not tomorrow, then next month, whatever. How do you get people to really commit and show up and and convert ultimately?
Yeah, for sure. The biggest thing of why someone want to show up is if it adds value to them. The way that you would run a workshop and the way you would choose your topic is thinking from it from that perspective. What exactly is the biggest problem or biggest desire that your ideal client avatar or your ideal target audience has? You want to
Mm,
run the workshop on that event because when you do, you're automatically going to attract all of the people who have that problem or who have that desire. And in
yeah,
that one room, that's the people that you want there. Uh, I always say try to give as much value as you can as well, because a lot of people are afraid that they're giving too much value, and at the end of the day, people buy from them. But I have a different perspective. If you're able to give all of that value away, they see exactly what you're able to do, and that builds that connection even further, even faster. And when someone's like, you know what? I want to run online workshops. Well, they're going to think of me because I just shared a 3-day workshop about how you can run an online workshop to get more clients.
yeah, absolutely. That makes total sense. Of course, if it's exactly what you're looking for sure you're gonna show up and pay attention. Are there any, I don't know, new AI tools or new things out there industry that you're really excited about these days?
And I use ChatGPT every single day in my business. It helps me with so many different things.
By the way, if you're looking to build your team with incredible overseas talent, check us out at paired.so. We help you find your perfect overseas hire that delivers world-class results for the fraction of the local cost for the same role. If for whatever reason you don't end up hiring anyone, you pay nothing, so it's 100% risk-free. We would love to chat and see if we can help you and your business. Link is in the description. Now back to the pod.
Other AI tools out there, there's so many. Like I would say there's literally a new AI tool like every single day. It's
That's true.
hard to kind of keep up with everything.
Right.
But for me, like I focus heavily on using ChatGPT. We use Go High Level as one of our systems as well to build out all these automations, all these email marketing campaigns, and all of that so that it's automated, workflows, etc. So we don't have to manually build it out every time we do a launch, which is pretty powerful. sales funnels, templates, and all of that.
And what do you see as the next milestone for Amplify? What is it that you guys are working towards right now?
Yeah, I love that. I definitely want to double the number of people that we've been able to help. So far, my career in entrepreneurship, I've been able to help over 2,000 people. My goal over the next couple of years is to get to over 5,000 people that we're able to help. So I think for me, it's very impact driven because that's where I
Yeah.
find fulfillment from. So I'm excited to be able to help more coaches, consultants create an entrepreneurial skill and monetize.
Apart from the impact, what would you say drives you personally? Because obviously the goals are ambitious. It seems like you've built business after business after business. Maybe after this one, you're going to teach people how to start like a live workshop business. Maybe you're going to get very meta. But I'm very curious, like what drives you personally, Melissa?
So one big value of mine is freedom.
Hmm.
Freedom in the projects I take on, freedom in where I live, what I do, who I hang out with, how I
Yeah.
structure my day. So that's a huge thing. I do think work is an important aspect of it, but I do not want to spend the rest of my life just focusing on just this.
Yeah.
I think having a balance is really important. Like I have a lot of interests outside of business that I want to focus
Yeah.
on as well. But what drives me at the end of the day is just having freedom. And the book that completely changed my life and is the reason I actually got into entrepreneurship in the first place is 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. So my goal ultimately is to work 4 hours a day and to
Mm,
be able to spend the rest of my time just doing other things in life and enjoying life.
love to hear it. Love to hear it. Did you mean 4 hours a day, or are you going full Tim Ferriss and the goal is 4 hours a
Well,
week?
I would say, okay, that's a good question. Maybe ultimately it would be 4 hours a week, but right now it's 4 hours a day. Is
Yeah,
what my
I
focus.
think 4 hours a day is already ambitious, especially when you're running a whole organization.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah. We are in the scaling phase right now, so we are putting in a little bit more time to scale, but we
yeah,
are setting up systems along the way too. So we are getting closer and closer to that. My goal is to be able to take more of a backseat later on, so things are going to run, and I just focus more on the strategy side of things.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. One of the things I was so impressed by, Melissa, is that you don't even have like a massive team running everything in the background. It seems like you guys managed to keep things very lean. And I'm just curious, how did you go about building building the team that you have? How do you look for the right people, and how do you onboard in a way that allows you to do that?
A couple of things. I actually had a really big team before in my first business, or sorry, in the second business, in my coaching business. We had over
Mhm.
20 people at one point.
Oh, shoot.
And I realized the biggest lesson from that was I actually don't want to be managing that many people because all my time is pretty much spent on managing people and not like focusing on the business. It's
Yeah.
really hard to do that. So that was one lesson for me personally. I don't want to be managing a large team. So that as we were building Amplify really came into mind as in how can I build my business in a way where I have people working for me so I don't have to be working in the business, I can work on the business, but in a way where I can keep a lean team. I think the
Yeah.
biggest thing figuring out what is my zone of genius? Like, what do I want to focus on?
Mhm.
Um, what I enjoy and what I find fulfillment is the coaching aspect of it because I like working with people and working with my clients, and also creating content and sharing strategies online.
Mhm.
And fulfillment on the actual like building out systems and all of that, I want to have a team that's able to do that for me.
Yeah.
So looking for talent, one of the first things I did was I sat down and figured out what my values in my business were, what my
Mhm.
vision is, so that whenever I'm interviewing people, I want to make sure that the values that they have is aligned to what I'm thinking of as well.
Absolutely.
I truly believe that if you have the right people in the right seats, skill set can be taught. But mindset, values, principles, that's something that's not so easily changed. So you have to find the right people that fits that first, and
Mhm.
then you find the set for what you're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And some of the biggest mistakes that I think founders make once you have product market fit and you realize like, oh, hiring someone can help a lot. And the next thing you know, you have 20 people and you're not spending any time on strategy. Now you're just people, you're a manager now, right? You're just a full-time manager, and it's a place to get stuck in easily. And I think what you shared is
Mhm.
super valuable, getting in people that share the values. And also, one thing I always encourage our clients with Paired to hire people that, this might sound silly, but that can do, just critical thinking, right? They don't need to be micromanaged. They don't need to message you with every little thing. They don't, they will go and check a YouTube tutorial. They will ask ChatGPT. They will go figure it out, right? And they
Yeah.
will come up with solutions and try a few on their own before they even come to you. And that way you can have one person that gets it done instead of three, right? They're all running in a circle. So,
Exactly. I think having a team is just so important. Like
mm,
when I was working my full-time job, because this was a side hustle, we
yeah,
built a team. I didn't have my team. There's no way we'd have gotten like success results. And with how quickly we were able to scale, um, if I didn't have them. So I'm super appreciative of my team and just building teams in general that allow you as a founder or CEO to work on the strategy and the important things so that team can work on other aspects that are they're skilled at.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the best parts of it is you mentioned freedom, right? Like freedom is one of your top values that's driving you to keep growing. And
Mm.
what I really love seeing is when there's a founder like yourself, there's kind of like a vortex of this energy of, like creating value, helping others create value. And then when you find the right people, the right team members, just kind of the vortex, pulls them in, and now they're getting more value. They're getting more freedom, right? Like if they work remotely, they can have, location freedom and do something that they really enjoy. So this is like a win-win-win for everyone. So I think it's awesome.
Absolutely. I don't like to micromanage and I don't want to have to do that. So all the team members I have, it's they have the freedom, they have autonomy. They just need to get their work done. As long
Yeah,
as it's done, they can do it whenever they want. They have flexibility in their time and scheduling. So that's how I want my life to be lived. And so as a result, that's how I kind of manage my employees as well.
exactly. Absolutely, absolutely. Melissa, you shared so many amazing insights with us today. To finish on a strong note, what sort of advice, or it doesn't have to be advice, but what comes up for you? What would you like to share with founders that are getting into similar industry, business consultants, someone that wants to do something similar to you? What would you share with them?
I would say build systems. Building systems is the way to scale your business and be able to buy back time so you're able to focus on actually growing the
Yeah.
business.
Hmm.
Systems in terms of marketing systems, having a client generating machine, if you will, so you're
Yeah.
able to get clients on demand. Building, yeah, marketing sales, those are pretty important. In a way, operate in a way that's lean as well. So you don't have so much overhead. Um, those are what those are what I would say.
Amazing. Super valuable. Melissa, thank you so much. And yeah, best of luck. I don't think you'll need it for the 5K entrepreneurs held in the next 2 years. And yeah, thanks for your time today and being on the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Martin. It was fun today.